MAGA Mike in panic mode, in desperation mode during his daily humiliation ritual. This press conference this morning was one of MAGA Mike's worst yet. I mean, he's terrified of losing his job. I mean, he knows, I think, where this is headed, but he's obedient. He takes his orders directly from Donald Trump. So one of the things that MAGA Mike now is saying at the press conference is he's like, well, I've heard Mom Donnie talk about affordability, but guess what, everybody? The Republicans, we're the affordability party. We love affordability. Here, play this clip.
Yes. The reason we're so enthusiastic about running next year is we have a real record to run on. Mondami and Democrats want to talk about affordability. We love that subject. We love it. Look at the facts. I brought some this morning. It's the Republicans who are working every day to make life more affordable for working families. And it's not a talking point for us. We are delivering. After 4 long years of skyrocketing prices under the Biden administration, we had to take over. You don't flip a switch and reverse that overnight. It takes a while to work those policies out of the system and to get the new ones in. President Trump and Republicans are delivering results for the American people that they can see and feel.
And MAGA Mike is asked by a member of the press, like, don't you think it's not helpful to all of your press conferences and to your entire cause here that Donald Trump is saying that the government shutdown is why there was a blue wave earlier this week in the election, while y'all are the reason that the shutdown is taking place and you refuse to have your members even show up, yet alone negotiate with Democrats? Watch what MAGA Mike says. Here, play this clip.
The president yesterday said that Republicans were getting people for the shutdown. Is it helpful to have them talking like this when it's actually emboldening Democrats not to pay?
Look, I've spoken with the president about it. I reminded him, as I said this morning, this was not a surprise to us. I mean, blue states elected blue leaders. I mean, so what? I mean, it would have been a huge headline if we could have had an upset there, but that was to be expected. As Leader Scalise said, I mean, if the three big elections yesterday would have been in Louisiana, Alabama, and Texas, you'd have a totally different narrative, right? Or name any red state. It just so happened that those were the blue states. That was the blue outcomes. That's what everybody expected. I don't read too much into that. Yes.
Okay, MAGA Mike. Okay, MAGA Mike. Then I think this is the critical question right here. A reporter says, well, MAGA Mike, can you give the Democrats assurances if there is a clean resolution that passes in the Senate for funding of the government, that there will be an immediate vote on extending the Affordable Care Act subsidies, right? The key issue that MAGA Republicans are taking away the health care of Americans. Democrats want to make sure Americans keep their health care. Will you guarantee a vote? And MAGA Mike's like, nope. I can't guarantee anything. I will not promise anything. Well, if you're not going to even allow a vote on the Affordable Care Act subsidy extension, do we all see why people are rightfully blaming you and Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans for the shutdown? Precisely because of this reason. Here, play this clip.
He's offered them a vote. You know what they told him in response? No, we need you to guarantee the outcome of that vote. Well, that's ridiculous. That can't be done. No, because we did our job and I'm not part of the negotiation. The House did its job on September 19th. I'm not promising anybody anything. I'm going to let this process play out. I tell you what they wanted. I'll tell you what Schumer and Jeffries wanted. In fact, Chuck Schumer said it publicly and decried that Thune and I would not go in a back room with them and make a four corners agreement on Obamacare subsidies. And I said, there's no way. That it was never possible or appropriate for that to.
Then MAGA Mike Johnson is asked about Donald Trump's tariffs against the world. Remember, Article 1 of the Constitution that deals with, our Constitution deals with the co-equal branch of government. Article 1, Congress. Article 2, the executive branch. Article 3, the judiciary. Co-equal branches of government. And that the founders believe that the branches would zealously guard their branch against the other branch, aka checks and balances. So Article 1 deals with the power of taxation and regulating trade, and it's the process that is the province of the Congress, of the House of Representatives and the Senate, the power of the purse. Not Article 2, the executive branch. The executive branch needs permission from Congress. And that's what the Supreme Court, even the right-wing justices, were saying during the oral argument where Donald Trump's lawyer, the DOJ guy, John Sauer, who talks sour, was like, no, we've always believed that this is the executive branch, that he gets to do whatever he wants. He wakes up, he doesn't like a TV ad, he gets angry at Canada. Oh, Canada, he'll tariff them and impose tariffs without Congress. But MAGA Mike's like, I just want to let everybody know, if I felt for a minute that the executive branch had overstepped on tariffs, I would do something about it. Okay, MAGA Mike, we know you're the biggest liar. I mean, you not just are the weakest speaker of the House, you're not even really the speaker. You're just Donald Trump's little toy thing. It's grotesque. Here, play this clip.
Don't read too much into the questions. This is how the process works. I'm sure the court will look at this very carefully and deliberately as they do, and I expect that we'll have a majority of the court that says that this administration is doing what they have the legal authority to do. If I felt like the executive branch had overstepped its bounds on trade or on the tariffs or something, I would have stepped in. I mean, that's my job as the Speaker of the House over the legislative branch. I would have done it in my own way, to be candid. I would have gone to the president privately and said, hey, sir, enough. I think you're overstepped the bounds. Let's try to figure that out. I wouldn't have publicly had a big spat with him because it wouldn't have been necessary. But that conversation didn't happen because I believe that what he's done is well within the bounds. And so we'll see what the court does. Yes.
It seems like you hear about a new round of layoffs every day. And what's the best way to dodge the next round? Get the skills that companies are desperate to hire for. This podcast is sponsored by Udacity. Want to learn skills that command high salaries? Udacity is an online learning platform with courses in AI, tech, including generative AI, agentic AI, Python, data science, and much more. Instead of wasting your time on the internet or prompting ChatGPT, Udacity removes the guesswork so you learn what you need to know and nothing that you don't. When you learn with Udacity, you're not just passively watching videos or reading articles. You're doing practical exercises and projects that prepare you for the job you want. That's why 90% of Udacity graduates say that they achieve their enrollment goal. Last week, I tried Udacity's course on data structures and algorithms. I love learning a new lucrative job skill while sitting at home in my pajamas. Udacity lets me sharpen old tech skills and learn new ones, so I'm ready to take on the latest and greatest challenges. I love that with Udacity, you're learning AI, but with human support. I don't feel like I'm doing it on my own. Whenever I'm stuck or need feedback, I have people to turn to. I love that Udacity has a network of over 1,000 mentors available to give tailored feedback on my projects. It creates a really personalized learning experience. When you have a certification from Udacity, recruiters and employers, they take notice. So for a better job, better salary, and better skills, check out Udacity today. The tech field is always evolving, and you should be too. You can try Udacity risk-free for 7 days. Head to udacity.com/Meidas and use code Meidas for 40% off your order. Once again, that's udacity.com/Meidas for 40% off, and make sure you use my promo code Meidas so they know that I sent you.
More from MAGA Mike Johnson here, who says that he's still coping with the results of Tuesday's blue tsunami. And he goes, there were no surprises on Tuesday. Exactly what we expected to happen. Okay, MAGA Mike, here, play this clip.
It has been very interesting to us to see all the pundits trying to spin the results of the election on Tuesday. I just want to point out some simple facts here, and as usual, I try to be concise and give you the highlights here. But there's some things that we really need to point out. First, there were no surprises on Tuesday night. Okay, you had blue states and blue cities that voted blue, to the alarm of no one, to the surprise of no one. That was what was expected. It just so happened that New York and New Jersey and Virginia were the states that were in the national spotlight on Tuesday. If the tables had been turned and if the calendar had been different and you had 3 red states, we'd have an entirely different narrative that you all would be writing about. Don't lose the simple facts.
Then MAGA Mike is asked about, what do you say to Americans who see the food prices going up as we head into Thanksgiving? What do you say to these Americans right now who know that inflation is surging while y'all are claiming that it isn't? And then MAGA Mike's like, oh, well, we all know that that's just what happens with food prices. They always go up. Here, play this clip.
But food prices themselves have still been going up. Grocery prices are still going up. How do you explain that?
Yeah, but the USDA has reported, and all of the economists have shown, food prices always go up. There's an inflationary level that's built into grocery prices, but they're going up at a much slower pace. In other words, the economic policies, even though all the provisions of the Working Families Tax Cut have not yet been implemented, that's going to make a dramatic effect. It's going to be like jet fuel to the economy. We have all these pro-growth policies that will bring down costs, increase wages, increase jobs, and more access to the economic rung, so that more people can climb up the ladder. But
as Melanie Duraggio says, weird way to admit that their promise to bring down grocery prices was always a lie. Then MAGA Mike, in one of the ultimate acts of projection and confession, says, you run on a big list of false claims, you promise everything, and you can never deliver. That's what the Democrats do. No, what do you do? That's literally what Trump does. I mean, the whole thing he said was that he would make groceries cheap on day one, and all the wars would be solved on day one, and everyone was going to be so rich you weren't going to know what to do with it. Anyway, here, play this clip.
If you run as a socialist, you run on a big list of false claims. And you promise everything to everyone, and you can't deliver. And if you were ever able to deliver, it will be to the great detriment of the very people that you lured in to vote for you.
MAGA Mike continues to talk about how off-year election results are isolated. Don't read into the results on Tuesday, because he's scared, very scared. Here, play this clip.
Fourth point I just want to make in the aftermath of Tuesday is that off-year election results in isolated places are never indicative of the upcoming midterm election. Don't read too much into that. You shouldn't. If you do, you're going to miss it. The GOP is in excellent position to win big next year. And when I say I'm bullish about the midterms, we absolutely are. And there's a lot of reasons for that. This is not groundless optimism. It's based on facts. The reason we're in such a great position is because we are united. And while the Democrats engage in their emerging civil war, Republicans are going to continue to work and deliver for all the new voters that we brought into the party last fall in 2024. There was a true demographic shift in that election, as you know. Record number of Hispanic and Latino voters, Black and African American voters, Jewish voters, union workers, urban voters, young people. And while they say that there's this big swell of enthusiasm of young people based on what happened in New York City Tuesday night, I would give to you Exhibit A on our side. Maybe you're not noticing, but the turning point events at college campuses all around the country are setting records for attendance. You have hundreds of thousands of new young people weekly coming into the movement that are enthusiastic, young conservatives who are looking for truth, who believe in America's founding principles, and who want to be engaged. And they will be engaged in next year's midterms.
MAGA Mike is then asked about the demographic shifts we now see of Hispanics, young people shifting back to Democrats, shifting back blue. We saw a shift towards Trump in 2024. Now we're seeing a shift away from Trump and MAGA right here. What's notable as well is that the redistricting, what Governor Abbott did in Texas, the gerrymandering that he did, was based on a premise that the Hispanic community would be overwhelmingly supportive of Trump. But now we're seeing them overwhelmingly not supportive of Trump. So what may have happened is that Trump and Abbott and the MAGA Republicans may have just diluted the districts in Texas to now create competitive races that if Democrats win by the margins, we saw them win on this Tuesday in Texas. And if you take a look at like Bucks County in Pennsylvania, if you look at these Georgia statewide races, if those shifts exist in Texas, Democrats could run the board in Texas right now as a result of the gerrymander that Trump and Abbott did because of the demographic shifts that we just saw on Tuesday. But MAGA Mike's like, oh, no, don't worry about that. The pesky little data. Here, play this clip.
No, I do believe that the demographic shift that we were able to see and experience in the 2024 election will hold. I believe that large numbers of those new voters and these demographics that have not traditionally been with the Republican Party are with us.
Then MAGA Mike just like lies, which he always does, but he's just like, core inflation is down. We all know that core inflation is down when we know that's not the case. Here, play this clip.
The American people, that they can see and feel. To date, we've seen core inflation is nearing its lowest level in 4 years. Gas prices have fallen to a 4-year low. Prices for everyday goods continue to decline, and blue-collar workers are seeing the largest increase in wage growth in nearly 6 decades.
Then MAGA Mike says, this is what he said before the press conference. He's like, I got to go do this press conference like every morning just to put the truth out there. Every morning I do it. It's a humiliation ritual that Donald Trump puts you through. And you look worse every morning, MAGA Mike. Here, play this clip.
I'm not surprised that people are misled because the entire mainstream media is out every day parroting the talking points of Chuck Schumer. I have to go do a press conference every morning just to try to put the truth out there, the simple truth that is not changing. It sounds repetitive to us.
Not from
but that's what it
6 to
takes to
9
try
here,
to saturate.
Not from 6 to 9 here, Mr.
Right.
Speaker. We're not parroting this.
I know.
And then one more time and then interview because, MAGA Mike just shows up. He's got his talking points from Donald. And then he goes with respect to Trump's unlawful tariffs against the world and the fact that all the Supreme Court's like, Congress, this is your job. The executive branch can't just put tariffs against the world without there being, I don't know, something called a law. Laws, the law, that's what Congress is supposed to do, MAGA Mike. And just watch how MAGA Mike is like, yeah, no, we don't do that. We don't do the law anymore. If I would have seen anything that I think is wrong, you know me, I'm MAGA Mike. I would do whatever. I would stand up to Trump. That's what MAGA Mike does. Okay, MAGA Mike, here, play this clip.
I'm cheering for the president that the executive will win on this. Now, I say that as a jealous guardian of the legislative branch of government, Article 1. There's a reason we're listed first in the Constitution. This is supposed to be the place of greatest importance. We're the ones that are supposed to make the law and the policy. But we do give the executive traditionally a lot of leeway, a lot of discretion over international trade. And we had a serious problem in this country for decades. As you all know, and you've discussed many times, we had a big trade disparity. The president stepped in. I think he's used that authority appropriately. He's obviously created a lot of leverage for our trade strategy internationally, and it's yielded great results. And so I'm watching that carefully because I'm the guardian of the Article 1 branch of government. But I think he's well within the lines, and I hope that a majority of the justices agree, because if they reverse all this, it would really be chaos in the markets and in the economy. It'd be a real problem for the country.
And so utterly ridiculous. Wait, let me know what you think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. And thanks for watching.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.